Chapter 2. Ava pulled into the small parking lot of Chris's chiropractic office and parked the car. He had agreed to squeeze her in just before lunch, and she'd taken the appointment. A pain in the neck was one thing, but a stiff neck made her job so much harder. "Welcome to Caring Chiropractic," the woman behind the desk said as Ava entered. "I'm Virginia." "Ava Miller. I called ahead to see Dr. Gibson." Virginia smiled. "Ah, yes, I have you on the books. Since it's your first time seeing us, I will need you to fill out some paperwork, though." Of course. Ava had expected nothing less. Everyone wanted forms filled out nowadays. But she supposed she couldn't blame them. With all the lawsuits in the world, it was especially important to have bases covered if you were in the medical profession. She took the clipboard and the forms to one of the chairs in the small waiting room and began answering the questions. No, she wasn't injured on the job. At least she didn't think she had been. Yes, the pain was severe. No, it wasn't traveling down her arms or legs. Yes, it was hindering movements. No, she'd had no recent surgeries. In fact, the last time she had been in the hospital was Kylie's birth. No, she had not been in an accident. She circled the area on the diagram that corresponded with her pain and flipped the form over. After reading the legalese, she signed her name, consenting to treatment, and then returned the clipboard to the desk. "Ava, if you want to follow me, I'll do a quick consultation before Dr. Gibson sees you." Ava followed the petite blonde woman down the hall to a small room. It held only the adjusting table, a stool, and one chair. Virginia sat down in the stool and motioned for Ava to take the chair. "You drove yourself, right?" "Yes, though I'm not sure I should have. I had motion this morning, but now my neck is so stiff I can barely turn it." Ava attempted to demonstrate, but the pain kept her from turning very much. "That's fine. I just see that your insurance company requires in-house x-rays, and Dr. Gibson will want some before he treats you. Do you think you could drive to their clinic and then back here?" The thought sounded as appealing as getting a root canal, but if it would stop the pain, Ava would do it. "I don't think it's very safe for me to be driving far, but as it's right down the road, I could probably do it." "Is there someone who could drive you?" "Yeah, maybe Genevieve. I'll call her and see if she can meet me here." "Great. I'll put in the order and we'll get you taken care of." Ava followed Virginia back to the front, and while she placed the order, Ava shot off a text to Jen. A few minutes later, Jen entered the office, a harried frown on her face. "Why didn't you tell me it had gotten worse?" Jen asked as she helped Ava into her Range Rover. "It came on kind of suddenly. I was working on the book, and when I stopped typing, I realized my neck had stiffened." Ava let out a groan as Jen hit a bump in the road. "Sorry, I'll slow it down and watch for bumps." Ava closed her eyes and sent a prayer up as Jen continued to drive. "Lord, please take this pain away. Let it be nothing major and give the doctors the wisdom to fix it." "We're here," Jen said a moment later, and Ava eased herself out of the car. Radiology was on the first floor of the clinic, and it took only a few minutes to get checked in, but by the time they sat down, Ava's head felt as if it weighed an extra 50 pounds. She leaned over, letting it rest lightly on her hands. It wasn't extremely comfortable, but it eased a little of the burden from her neck. "Ava Miller?" "Here," Ava said the word without looking up. That would follow, but slowly. "Guess I'll be right back," she said to Jen, before following the woman into the bowels of radiology. "Okay, it looks like we're taking 3 cervical x-rays today, so I need you to remove your shirt, bra, and any jewelry on your neck or ears." The woman pointed to a folded piece of fabric on a stool. "There's a gown there. Go ahead and put it on, but don't worry about tying it. I'll help you with that." Ava chuckled. She couldn't have tied anything behind her back at the moment if she tried. In fact, she wasn't entirely sure she'd be able to get her shirt and necklace off, but she'd deal with that if it happened. The woman pulled the curtain closed behind her, and Ava took a deep breath before peeling her shirt off. The necklace was a little easier, as she was able to turn the clasp to the front of her neck and not have to reach so far, but she wasn't sure she would bother putting it back on. However, she held the golden cross for a moment and whispered another prayer for healing and knowledge before laying it on her shirt. Then she slid her bra off, added it to the pile, and put on the gown. "Ready?" the technician asked as Ava pulled back the curtain. "I think so." Ava turned so the woman could tie the back, and then she followed the woman into the darkened room just ahead. "Okay, can you put your left shoulder against this and then hold still?" "That shouldn't be a problem since I can barely move," Ava said with a small smile. "I'm so sorry. Hopefully we can figure out what's going on and get you fixed up." The woman moved another piece of the X-ray machine closer to Ava's right side and then disappeared into a small room. Ava heard a hum, followed by a beep, and then the woman reappeared. "Okay, now if you can put your back against this." Ava did as she was told, but she couldn't get the back of her head completely against the piece the technician pointed to. "Here, let me help." The woman pushed gently on Ava's forehead until it rested against the back part. Ava grimaced only slightly and tried not to let the fear overtake her. What was wrong with her? "Hold there." The woman disappeared again. Another hum, beep, and the woman appeared again. "Okay, last one. It's going to sound weird, but I need you to open your mouth." Ava had no idea what that position helped them see, but she complied, and then the experience was over. "You need to take these back, correct?" "Yes, ma'am." "Great. Go ahead and get dressed and head back to the lobby. I'll get them copied to a disk and should have it ready in about 5 minutes. "Thank you." Ava stepped back into the small room that held her clothing and redressed, placing her necklace in her pocket. Then she headed back to the lobby. As soon as she reached the chair next to Jen, she once again let her head rest on her hands. It felt so heavy and stiff. Jen placed a hand on her shoulder but said nothing. Ava didn't mind. The gesture alone brought a comfort that words couldn't have anyway. "Here you are," the technician said a few minutes later and handed Ava an envelope. Ava tucked it in her purse and thanked the technician before following Jen back to her car. "Will you be okay if I drop you off?" Jen asked as she fastened her seatbelt. "I need to run some errands." "Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll probably go home after this, and it isn't far." Ava had no idea how the adjustment would go, but it had to be better than what she was feeling now. She rested her head against the headrest in the car and prayed they wouldn't hit any bumps. When they arrived back at the chiropractor's, Jen helped Ava out of the car. "Be sure to let me know how it goes," she said as she opened the front door for Ava. "I will. Thank you." Ava waved to her friend and then stepped up to the front desk. She handed the envelope to Virginia and then took a seat again. "Let's just get these loaded up, Ava, and I'll be right back." "I'll be here," Ava said, but she didn't lift her head. It felt better if she could just let her hands hold the weight up. Virginia disappeared down the hallway, but a moment later she was back again, muttering under her breath. "I can't believe they did that. Angela, can you get radiology on the line for me?" Uh-oh, this didn't sound good. Ava hoped they didn't want her to drive back, because she didn't think she would be able to. "Hi, this is Virginia over at Caring Chiropractic. I just sent a patient over for x-rays. She brought back the film, but it's encrypted. I tried her date of birth, but that isn't opening it." "No, I can't open any part of it." "I don't know what to tell you. It says it's encrypted." "Okay, well, thank you." "What's the problem?" Chris's voice joined the conversation. "They sent the films, but they're encrypted. The guy at Ava's clinic just told me they don't do that. He refused to help me." "Let's just do the x-rays in-house, free of charge. If we don't charge for them, we aren't breaking the insurance company's rules." Ava wanted to thank him. There was no way she could have driven back to the clinic. "Ava, come with me." Ava stood and followed Virginia down the hallway once again. "I'm so sorry about this." "I'm just glad you have the option to do them in-house. I don't think I could have driven back." Virginia rolled her eyes. "No, and it's ridiculous that that's what they wanted you to do. We'll just get these taken quickly and get you some relief." "Thank you." Ava followed Virginia's directions and stood still while the x-rays were taken again. "All right, Ava, all done. Dr. Gibson should be in soon." Ava sank down in the chair and rested her head once again. She hoped Chris would be able to provide her relief. The pain was getting more intense. The door opened and Chris entered. "Hey, Ava. I'm sorry to see you're in so much pain. You have no idea what you did, huh?" "No, I just woke up with a slight pain in my neck, but now I can't move it." "It's probably a pinched nerve, but let me take a look at your x-rays." Ava used her fingers to tilt her head up slightly so she could see the screen. She had no idea how to read the pictures, but even she could tell that the top vertebrae in her neck didn't look right. "Yep, right there." Chris pointed at the twisted vertebrate. "Your C1 through C4 are very clearly out of alignment. The good news is we can treat you and get you some relief. The bad news is it's going to take a few days." The weight that sat on Ava's shoulders grew heavier. "Days?" "Yeah, I would bet that you'll be about 10% better tomorrow and another 20% the day after. Then when we have you moving again, we can look at why this happened, okay?" Okay. 10% wasn't much, but Ava's pain was so bad now that she would take whatever relief he could give, even if it was only 10%. "Now, this is going to hurt today, but it should feel a little better after this adjustment." He held out a hand to help her stand and led her over to the adjustment table. "Let's have you lie down on your back." "I'm not sure I can," Ava said in a small voice. "I'll help. Just wrap your arms around my neck." Ava did as Chris instructed, and he placed a hand behind her neck. The pain hit when she was still a foot from the table, and by the time he got her prone, tears filled her eyes. "I know this hurts, and what I'm about to do will hurt even more, but then you should feel better." His hands twisted and pulled at her neck, and Ava bit back the scream that wanted to emerge. "Wiggle your left foot," he said, and then yanked on her neck. Pain like she had never felt before flooded her body, and Ava couldn't stop the whimper that escaped her lips, nor could she stop the tear that trickled out of the corner of her eye. "I know. One more." Ava wasn't sure she could take one more, but before she had time to think about it, he had probed and yanked the right side of her neck. The pain burned through her body, blacking out her vision for a moment. More tears joined the first, cascading down her cheeks. "I know it hurts, and it's okay to cry. I'll be right back with an ice pack, and I just want you to lay here for 20 minutes or so." Ava wasn't sure she could stay in this position another 5 minutes, much less 20, but she would try. As Chris left the room to get the ice pack, Ava let the tears stream down her face. "Please, Lord, take the pain away." Chris returned a moment later with the ice pack and slid it under her neck before exiting again, but the pain didn't lessen. Ava felt trapped. She couldn't sit up due to the pain, but she couldn't lay here much longer. Should she scream out? Could they hear her crying? Surely he would come back in a few minutes. She could last another few minutes. "How are you doing?" Chris asked a few minutes later as he entered the room again. "Can I sit up and put the ice on my neck that way?" Ava managed through her tears. "It's not quite as effective. Is this position bothering you?" "It hurts so much." "Okay, let's get you up then." Ava had no strength to even help push. She was completely reliant on Chris as he put an arm around her and pulled her up. Again, the pain blacked out her vision for a moment. "There you go. Think you're okay to drive home?" "Maybe in a minute. The room is still spinning." "Of course. When you get home, I want you to sit with this ice pack on. 20 minutes on and then chill it for 40, then ice again, okay?" Ava agreed, but she was beginning to wonder if she would make it home, and if she did, how she would venture out again to get Kylie. She was going to have to call in more favors.